Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? The only way we can continue to have cheap food is to have cheap energy. Can we agree? We use energy to grow our food, to harvest our food, to produce our food, and to package our food. Transporting all of that food from farm to factory and then to stores takes a lot of energy. Of course, it isn't just our food supply that depends on cheap energy. No. Ultimately, our entire way of life is predicated on a cheap energy paradigm. If you take cheap energy away, everything changes. That is why this war in the Middle East could represent such a critical economic tipping point. 31% of the world's oil comes from the Middle East. If that supply is restricted or completely cut off for an extended period of time, we will be in for a world of hurt. But don't just take my word for it. At this point, even the World Bank is sounding the alarm. They said, oil prices could be pushed into uncharted waters, which could lead to higher food prices worldwide if the violence between Israel and Hamas intensifies. The bank's commodity markets outlook found that while the effects on oil prices should be limited if the conflict does not widen, the outlook would be darkened quickly if the conflict were to escalate. So in a worst-case scenario, the World Bank says that the price of oil could go as high as $157 a barrel. In a large disruption scenario comparable to the Arab oil embargo of 1973, the global oil supply would shrink by 6 million to 8 million barrels per day, and prices could go up by 56 to 75%, or $140 to $157 a barrel. Other experts are projecting that the price of a barrel of oil could eventually go as high as $300 a barrel. If energy prices start to scream higher as more parties join this war in the Middle East, global food prices will go far higher than they are right now. You think we're having trouble now putting food on the table? Just wait. Because, of course, they have already reached absurd levels. This month, a lot of Americans were complaining about ridiculously high candy prices for Halloween. Of all things, right? Candy. Over the past year, they have risen about 13% in the United States. Halloween candy inflation is up by double digits in the second year in a row, with prices 13% higher this October compared to the same time last year. And prices of candy and gum in October of 2022 had already increased by 14% from the previous year. But that is nothing compared to what is happening to orange juice. Now, I live in Florida, okay? So I know orange juice. I'm kidding, but still. Since March of 2020, the price of frozen orange juice concentrate is up 388%. How disgusting is that? Orange juice futures have hit a record high of $4.12 per pound, up 10% since Monday morning. The frozen orange juice concentrate has soared 388% since March of 2020. As weather and disease crushes the citrus supply here in Florida. The biggest producers of oranges in the U.S. is here in Florida. Florida's orange crop is expected to come in at around 713,000 tons, which is the smallest since 1936-1937 season. Ouch. Do you remember the days when we can all afford to drink orange juice with our breakfast in the morning? Those days are gone. Bye. At this stage, even a meal at McDonald's has become painfully expensive. I found out that a Big Mac combo at one location in Connecticut is $18. $18. Do you know how many? You could buy 18 boxes of pasta. Ish. However, McDonald's, which has 13,513 restaurants in the US and over 38,000 abroad, did not disclose how much the franchisor has increased its prices, which generally varies between locations. There's one McDonald's in Darien, Connecticut, that charges $18 for the combo meal, which only includes fries and a drink. Meanwhile, that same Big Mac combo will run hungry patrons $13.69 in a McDonald's in Times Square. Yeah. Thanks to these skyrocketing food prices, more Americans are going hungry more than ever before. This week, the number of Americans suffering from hunger and food insecurity increased by more than 10 million from 2021 to 2022. Let that sink in for just a sec. Okay? Because I'm sure we all know somebody that is actually going hungry right now, but they won't say anything to us because they're ashamed. The number of Americans suffering from food and hunger insecurity exploded by more than 10 million under 46, according to a U.S. Agricultural Department report. It provided fresh evidence of inflation's impact of a basic staple of life. And that report also found that 44.2 million Americans are living in food insecure households in 2022 compared to 33.8 million the year before. From 2021 to 2022, there were statistically significant increases in food insecurity and very low food security for nearly all subgroups of households. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, does not matter. Okay? Hunger has no preference on who it hits. So if things were that bad in 2022, how high is that number right now today? How high? My guess is that we're well beyond 50 million at this point. And what we have experienced so far, it's just the beginning, guys. Okay, unfortunately, most Americans simply cannot comprehend what's going on. And that's a sad thing because either they can't comprehend it, they don't want to see it, or they're living in a plastic bubble that has to be popped. Our stores have always been packed to the gills with mountains of cheap food, and so far, many people, it is so hard to understand that era is ending. No, I mean, with the way that the economy is now, the only thing we're going to be able to afford is ramen every night. Okay? This is why we live the lifestyles that we live. Matter of fact, before I forget, fill in your gaps in your preps. Do it if you can. There is no shame, first of all, with asking for help. There's no shame with going to a food pantry, okay? And there is no shame if you were on EBT and SNAP benefits. There's no shame in that at all, okay? So please don't feel like you can't do something because of these situations and circumstances. No, 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 okay? Don't ever feel ashamed. If you have not already do so, I would very much encourage you to stockpile some different foods while you still can, okay? Even if it's just the cheapest of the cheap. Even if it's just some rice and some beans, some peanut butter and jelly, okay? Some canned tuna, something, please, okay? The one thing that would hit me the hardest besides my family is any one of my family members, my community members, my friends going hungry. I don't ever want to say it. Because this war in the Middle East is just getting started. It really, truly is. And food prices will soon be shooting up to levels that would have once been considered unimaginable. Do you keep receipts like I do? Look at your receipts from last year until now. Okay? I've said this before and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it until everyone realizes what kind of circumstances every single one of us are in. You all know that I have a very large family, okay? We got 8, all right? My food bill has gone from $800, which was just last year, to $1,500 this year. So if anyone knows what it feels like to struggle to feed 8 mouths, it's this one right here. Okay? I know. Okay, so please don't feel like you just can't bring yourself to go to a food pantry. Nope. Stop it right now. Okay? It does not matter anymore. Swallow your pride. Go to a food pantry. Apply for food stamps. Do what you have to do so you don't go hungry. Okay? All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one, all right? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fear less.